Okay, the problem we are solving today is swap for nodes in pairs. Okay, let's read the description. Given a linked list, swap every two adjacent nodes and return its head. You must solve the problem without modifying the values in the list nodes. So basically what it's saying is we can't just swap the values. If we can swap the values, it will be very easier. We can just iterate through each node and we can swap through the adjacent nodes the values. So what we have to do is we have to swap the adjacent nodes itself directly. So let's see how we can solve this problem.
Okay, so let's see. So suppose we have four nodes here. One is pointing to 2, 2 is pointing to 3, and 3 is pointing to 4. So to solve this, we can add a dummy node with some random values. Let's name the node as dummy, okay, and point to the head. So our head will be at 1. Why dummy node? Because it will eliminate a lot of corner case scenarios where the linked list is blank, or where the linked list has only one node. So it can eliminate those failures. Okay, now our goal is to swap 1 and 3, to swap 1 and 3, and to swap 2 and 4. Okay, so how can we do this? Okay, let's see. So we can put two pointers. So one pointer here. Oh, my bad. So we can put two pointers. So one pointer we can put here at the head as first, and the next pointer as second at the next node. Okay, and we have to store a previous value also, because when we are swapping we have to point from previous node to the next node. So let's put the previous as dummy. So what we can do is we can point now, first is pointing to 2, so we can point first dot next equal to 3, so it will break this connection. And then we can point second is pointing to 3, so we can point second dot next equals to 1, so it will break this connection. And now we can point previous dot next equal to second. So after these three swaps, after these three moves, uh, our node will look like this. So we'll have our dummy node, okay, and it will be pointing to 2, 2 will be pointing to 1, 1 will be pointing to 3, and 3 will be pointing to 4. So our previous is still at dummy, and our second pointer is at 2 node, and our first pointer still at node 1. Okay, and head is there. Okay, our head is still here. So this is one iteration complete. In the next iteration, what we have to do, we have to do the swapping between again 3 and 4 in the similar way. So to do that, what we have to do, now we have to move our previous and head. We have to adjust our previous and head. So how we can do is, we can move previous to the first node here. Previous equal to head, we can move here, and we can move our head to the next node, and we can do the swapping. It will be the same thing, as the first iteration, it will continue.
Let's implement the code what we just saw. Okay, so what we can do is, the first thing is simply create a dummy node. So we have list node dummy equals to new list node. Okay, and the value we can give something random, -1. Dummy will point to the head, dummy dot next equal to head, and we can assign our previous pointer to dummy, so it will be list node previous pointer equals to dummy. So while what we can do, we have to swap between the first node and the second node. So while we have our head, while head is not equals to null and head dot next is not equals to null, so we can assign two pointers as we discussed. List node, suppose our first pointer will be at head, and list node, our second pointer will be at head dot next. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to swap first and second. So how we can swap? We said like first dot next, we can point to the third node, so it will be second dot next, and second dot next we can point to first node. And now our previous reference, like the dummy node which is referring to first node, so we can point that to previous dot next equals to second. So with this our first swap completes. Now what we have to do is we have to reinitialize our previous and our head so that we can continue with the subsequent swaps. So let me just comment out. Reinitialize head and previous. Now what we can do, previous we can move to our first node, and head, our head we can move to, currently it is first node, so we can move to first dot next. And once it is done, we can simply return the very first node, that will be dummy dot next. So let's execute the program. Okay, it's working fine. So what will be the order, time complexity and the space complexity for that? Since we are iterating only one time throughout all the nodes, the time complexity will be order of n, and we are not using any additional space, so the order complexity will be order of 1. Okay, we are good then.